made New York not fun?
Yes.
Remember how he cleaned that town up?
Yeah, yes.
Could that happen here under the right leadership? Could things turn around in one mayor's term?
Well, we're going to find out on a much larger level. Will things turn around in the country in the next 4 years? I think that I'll keep it to the city.
No, never.
I don't think so. I don't think so. It could happen, but it would take longer than 4 years.
Well, plus, number one, think of the turnaround that you'd have to have. That Democrat, DFL, would have to be so conservative to try to embrace that everybody would reject that.
Yeah, nobody would vote for that.
But if you could just replace a council member like Cesar Chavez.
Okay.
What's his first name? Igor?
Caesar, I think.
No.
What the hell's that Chavez?
After a salad.
Give me a
Why
second.
must you
Cobb?
guys?
What,
Cobb
John?
Chavez?
It starts with a J. I can't remember. I'm
Juan?
just annoyed by the Caesar thing.
Give me
Jorge.
a second.
Jorge?
I'm looking. Council member Cesar Chavez.
Jamal Austin. Oh, Jason.
Jason Chavez.
Starts with a J, like I
Right.
said.
He, to his credit, he is available apparently whenever you want to talk to TV cameras and the press, and he is the stumbling block on the renovation of this so-called George Floyd Square. It isn't really a square at all. It's an intersection. Doesn't a square put you in mind of a speaker's box and
Yeah.
It does.
beautiful
Yep.
street
Yes.
lamps
Square.
and what have you? So Chavez is the stumbling block because he's completely comfortable with the idea that he's in control and not the residents there. It's so you replace council people like that and you start to turn things around.
That's right.
Okay.
He had that quote that he's something, I can't even paraphrase it.
No, everything he touches, every aspect of the political life that crosses his desk, excuse me, he thinks he's got a better idea.
Yeah.
For all you euphorians out there, a couple of emailers have alerted me to this. I think it's fascinating. Did you know that Bill Clinton offered buyouts to 270,000 federal employees?
I don't recall that.
And did you know that on the occasion of Bill Clinton's presidency was the last time we had a balanced budget?
I didn't know that either.
Bill Clinton is a wonderful example of longing for the predecessor
Right.
of whoever you have
Right.
now. And this, I don't know why I'm
I got
coughing.
it. Well, yeah, I don't think you're feeling 100%. That might be the case.
And this is written in April of 1995. Could you get me a water?
April of 95? Yes, I can.
You're very kind.
I know I am.
Thank you.
This is extra, by the way. This is extra shit that I'm doing right now.
I know. More than 2 years ago, Clinton wrote, this is in April of 95, I promised to fix the federal government. I was firmly convinced that we could do more with less, that we could create a government that was leaner but not meaner, and that we could make government our partner rather than a problem. I established the National Performance Review and put Al Gore in charge. He and his team have helped to transform government, to cut bureaucracy and red tape, and to find ways to give the American people the service they deserve. At the same time, my economic plan is bringing down the deficit by more than $600 billion, and we are proposing another $81 billion in deficit reduction in the budget I recently sent to Congress. A major element of my strategy, thank you.
Loose cap.
A major element of my strategy was my commitment to streamline and cut the federal workforce. For too long in Washington, we have had too many layers of bureaucracy. This is from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake.
And I came in. You're quoting Clinton?
Yes.
Holy crap.
For too long in Washington, we have had too many layers of bureaucracy, too many workers whose main job was to check on the work of other workers rather than to perform useful work themselves. Good Lord. As the National Performance Review noted, we had good people trapped in bad systems. I promised to cut the workforce, and that's what I'm doing. Through our efforts, we have already cut the workforce by 102,000 positions, and we are on track to cut it by a total of 272,900 positions,
Wow.
bringing it to its smallest size since John Kennedy was president. While committed to cutting the workforce, we want to do it in a humane way. We face the same dilemma that confronted many private companies. They needed to downsize but wanted to avoid firing large numbers of loyal employees. Many of them have given people an incentive to leave by offering buyouts. We're doing the same. My God, this all happened before.
Why isn't this being brought out?
Early last year, Congress approved my request to allow non-defense agencies to offer buyouts of up to $25,000 a person. I suppose you scale back for the worth of $1.95, and that was a good amount of money. The Defense Department and a few other agencies already could offer buyouts under existing law because normal attrition will help us downsize in the future. We offered buyouts until March 31st, 1995, which was last Friday. Looking back, I can safely say that our buyout program has been a huge success. It's achieved what we hoped, to help us cut the workforce in a fiscally responsible and human way. To reduce the workforce by 102,000 positions by the end of fiscal 1994, we offered 70,000 buyouts. Several non-DOD agencies have offered deferred buyouts that will take place between now and March 1997. Defense will be using buyouts as it continues to downsize through 1999. Cutting those, we expect to buy out another 84,000 workers through 1987 as we reduce the workforce by, again, a total of 272,900 positions.
Wow.
Now, I can see what critics are already saying. And it would be this paragraph. Early last year, Congress approved my request for this. So in other words, what the critics are going to say is, well, Trump didn't seek any congressional approval. He just came in with Lightning Jim there and his 5 teenagers following him around, and they're going around and offering the buyouts. Now, that's a good point, but they're doing the same damn thing Clinton did.
Right.
Was he met with any resistance?
Well,
Did it
this is
pass?
written by Clinton. I doubt if he'd point that out. He does note the buyouts were not offered in a random fashion. We targeted them to reduce the layers of bureaucracy and micromanagement that were tying government in knots. We made sure the departments and agencies tied their buyout strategies to their overall plans to streamline their bureaucracies. As a result, almost 70% of our buyouts in the non-defense agencies have gone to people at higher grade levels, such as managers. I'm proud the program was successful. It shows that we can, in fact, create a government that works better and costs less. William J. Clinton, statement on the buyout program for federal employees, April 4th, 1995.
So do you suppose if Trump had put it before Congress, he would have been met with less resistance? Or
I
since
believe
he's
no. I
Trump-
believe he would have been met with total resistance.
Yeah.
The Republicans would have gone along with him, but Trump is so loathed that anything he might try to approach normally would be
I can't believe
laughed out of the building.
I can't believe somebody hasn't given that to their cabinet, their office. It's not a campaign anymore, but
Isn't that something? It's so for all you euphorians and the people who live in Diversityville and Liberal Lakes, your man Clinton did this
30 years ago.
30 years ago. We're coming up on the 30-year anniversary of this letter written by Bill.
I can't help but wonder how this would have gone over had Kamala won and she proposed this sort of thing.
That's not worth wondering.
Okay, I won't then.
Because she wouldn't have proposed this sort of thing. She would have been. It would have been all she could do to get up in the morning and pretend.
Joe,
she
I like
was
to
a
think the best of people.
Well, and I'm making that effort.
when?
But
Since now?
now Scott Mature out in Montana has a note on wasteful spending.
What do you got, Scotty?
He's got an interesting point. It has no doubt been a peek behind the curtain regarding how our government is run, what we spend our money on, and how we justify it to the American people, so to attempt to lead us to believe we are doing good in the world. Have you noticed who has been the loudest voices against DOGE and frivolous, irresponsible spending? It's the same people who were in favor of adding 87,000 additional internal revenue employees to ensure there would be no middle class and small business owner tax stone unturned. But I believe I have cracked the code on how our government has thus far decided where our tax dollars go and who the recipients will be. Here's their formula. You create 3 columns.
Okay.
The first column contains people and or a cause. Some examples. Transgender comic book superhero publishing. Ladybug water stations due to global warming. Dedicated furry shopping mall. Paraplegic drug cartel mules.
Oh.
Sex change for pet snakes.
Okay.
The second column contains a country or people. Guatemala, Democratic Republic of Congo, Djibouti, Yemen, and Papua New Guinea.
Papua New Guinea.
And the third column contains a dollar amount, 145 grand up to 230 million, up to $1 billion. Now simply select one from each column to determine what our tax dollars fund. For example, sex change for pet snakes in the Democratic Republic of Congo, 17 million.
Okay.
All right. And I challenge you to tell me that the above selection using this formula is outrageous compared to the actual spending we have learned so far. To my way of thinking, there are 3 possible scenarios. These are real expenditures. These are real, but as we have heard, many of these programs never even see a fraction of this money, thus going into the pockets of the likes of Chuck Schumer, perhaps. Or finally, none of these programs see any of the money, and it goes to some clandestine entity we know nothing about. And who is to say the U.S. government is not the world's biggest money launderer? Ta-da!
Okay, then.
Where am I? Where am I here?
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
You want to take a break?
Yes, he does.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
We'll be back.
Not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
Well, hi, my name is Happy, and I am. I'm also happy that with just 2 Seafoam products, you can solve a wide variety. I wrote down the word plethora of issues.
You can't spell it.
Plethora.
I can't spell it either.
That's correct.
Okay.
Starting with TransTune from Seafoam, when you add it to your transmission, it's going to restore the shift quality. It does that by cleaning sticky varnish from valve bodies, shift actuators, and solenoids. I don't know how it cleans solenoids, but if they say so, it must be true. But you can also put TransTune in the power steering, and that will help overcome hard steering by cleaning all the varnish deposits again. And it quiets those noisy steering pumps. You know what I mean if you've ever heard one. And that's 2 different components in our vehicles and 1 Seafoam solution, that being TransTune. The other one, Seafoam motor treatment, well, wow, this stuff, it's amazing. It works in fuel and oil systems. It cleans, it lubricates, it's made from petroleum ingredients, and that means it's safe and effective when used in any gasoline or diesel engine. It also, as most GLers know, has a long successful history of stabilizing and protecting this garbage we call gasoline. That's just 2 products that solve a whole ton of issues with our vehicles. A wonderful product in a world of bad gas. Seafoam.
Kyle has the curious habit of prowling through tapes and listening to odd things, and he found something that we did years ago that turned out to be prophetic. So I guess we're going to hear that now.
I'm Morgan Huey Wolf Slattery, Euphorian, with a look at the future of euphoria.
Hello, gender-neutral parent. You forgot to give me my birth control powder and juice last night, but I'll just get it from my teaching unit in school today.
That's a good developing person. Now remember, our family unit encourages you to abstain from doing drugs too. But if you do choose to do drugs, marijuana is the most organic. And since it's legal now, well, anyway, how would you feel about putting on your helmet and eating your homeopathic mood-enhancing ginkgo biloba mush? I have to go do lifestyle analysis to enrich community oneness.
Can I play with my non-violent educational toy before tree hugging time?
Yes, but first your study question. Can you name the most important legal document in the history of our country?
Roe versus Wade?
Is that the answer that makes you feel happy?
Uh-huh.
Well then, wonderful. Exciting progress is being made toward a Euphorian future each and every day. Value-free, gender-neutral, competition-free. And remember, it's only the beginning.
Wow.
What year was that, Kyle?
2000.
25 years ago.
Holy shit.
And it was nailed. Did Morgan do that?
Yeah, she wrote it.
Well, she nailed it 25 years
That's
ago.
her daughter. That's probably about 30 right now.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, that's crazy.
There was a story on the Fox. What?
I just said, wow.
There was a story on the Fox website dated yesterday, and it's a story of how Governor Walz has got over $1 million in campaign cash, and he raised the bulk of those funds while joining Vice President Harris' presidential ticket, where he wore his camo hats and middle-class status as a badge of honor. Walz has not formally announced whether he will seek a third term for governor, but said he will likely make a decision this summer. Regardless of the chaos unfolding in Washington, D.C., Governor Walz will continue working with Republicans and Democrats at the state capitol to balance the budget and make Minnesota the best state to live, work, and raise a family, a Walz spokesperson said. Well, that's a lie. The state has got... In fact, Walz was in the news today posturing about fraud and how he's placing a fraud group with the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. He's
Day late and dollar short.
he's way too late, and anything he said should be just by de facto as default, because he's already demonstrated that he's either too incompetent to worry about it, or he's somehow involved. And I continue to think he has not lined his pockets. So that leaves he's just way too incompetent. This guy, Sal Bando, once said of his manager with the Oakland A's, Alvin Dark, you couldn't manage a meat market. That's Walz. He could not manage a meat market.
So he's a day late and what, $600 million short?
And he's going on 6 years of this BS. We have become a national disgrace. The figure of money is $610 million. And look for things to happen. On Monday, now that the Democrats have stopped remodeling their rec rooms while they got paid to stay home, and they're back in session.
Joe, they were talking to their constituents.
I'm sure they were. The fraud committee will be going full steam, and I'm urging them to the legislature to consider that stopping fraud is the most important thing they can accomplish this legislative session. It must be stopped. You cannot count on the governor to stop it. He has failed miserably. Every opportunity he is faced with it, he just plays his bumpkin card. Mm-hmm. He's not the guy to handle this. He can't handle it. He's in way over his head, and his commissioners that he's appointed have shamefully left with no responsibility, no accountability, and then new ones come in and he pats them on the back. He has been a complete failure. He's the worst governor in the history of this state, and he's the worst governor in the country. And it's obscene to think that this moron thinks he's capable of a presidential run. Are you kidding me?
I think you're holding back.
I am, by the way.
I know you are.
I am holding back.
I know you are. You'd be a little more colorful.
I am holding back.
Off the air.
So I found it laughable to see this piece on the Fox News site. I don't know why they're doing it. It's by Deidre Heavey. I guess it's a she, wanted the readers to know that he's got a campaign chest of $1 million that he didn't blow when he was out all summer pretending to be Dom DeLuise dancing around the stage and doing that same move that Musk has been accused of.
Zig Heil?
This Heil thing. No, Walz wasn't doing that, neither was Musk. They were just, my heart to you, my heart to you.
Yes.
BS.
Turn the page. I'm glad we did. I'm
So
glad we closed the book.
whatever comes out in the news about today, Walz doubling down on how tough he wants to be on fraud, it's too late, Walz. The money is leaked out of that capital under your nose. It has for 6 years. It continues to. And if the legislature takes its responsibility seriously, this could be a really, really important legislative session. This has to be ended. We can't have any more stories where Jay Coles goes out and finds a boarded-up daycare center whose operators have received $6 million in the last 2 years.
Right.
We can't do that
Right.
anymore. This has to end. And it's a shame. It's a shame. We all say this used to be a hell of a state. Well, what it used to be was a state that was governed competently. And children who were hungry got fed. This is an outrage.
Where was who preceded?
Who preceded Walz?
Yeah,
Wasn't it Peleni or
Mark Dayton.
Mark Dayton? Mark Dayton.
Who was hungry? Why weren't all these kids hungry when Mark Dayton was in office?
Well,
Not blaming Walz, but I'm just saying, where was all that?
No, I can tell you what they'll use as an excuse.
Tell me.
Well, our world was upended by the pandemic.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what they'll use.
Are you at all curious about where the $1 million will go if he decides not to run?
Well, it ain't going to go to feed children.
You can donate it to charities as long, and this is a federal funds here. If you're running for president, you can donate it to charities as long as the candidate does not receive any compensation. You can donate a maximum of $2,000 to another federal candidate. Oh, and here's the tricky one, and I love this one. Gift or donations of a nominal value on special occasions to anyone besides the candidate's family. That could be.
Well, let's review this for a moment. He has $1 million in a campaign fund left over from the
Right.
VP run.
Right.
Now, is there a time limit on how long he's allowed to keep that?
I can't find that information. But you can, and this is probably what will happen, unlimited transfers to a local, state, or national political party committee like the Democratic or Republican national committees. That's probably where the money would go.
You mean give it to another candidate?
Right.
Like to Ilhan or to somebody that would...
Presumably, Matthew.
Okay.
Yeah, presumably.
Now, in the Walz state of Minnesota, I get this note from a person who would like to remain anonymous.
I'd like to know who people
Okay,
are.
well, read Jim's email then.
Yeah.
It's not Jim.
Jim from Minneapolis, go ahead. You're on.
In fact, the very first sentence, Kenny,
Yes.
reads, "Please keep my name anonymous. I'm a long-time listener, but this is my first time reaching out.
Oh, good.
Yesterday, I received the attached email from the Minnesota State High School League, the organization that governs high school sports in the state of Minnesota. The very first paragraph is the one that is of interest, regarding transgender student-athlete participation and eligibility. This is incredibly concerning as someone who works with high school sports teams and as the parent of a daughter who competes in high school sports. Why is the hard work of my daughter put in to become the athlete she is being put at risk so someone who was born biologically stronger, larger, and faster can compete against her? Keep women's sports for women. Isn't that what Trump just signed?
I think so.
But not here.
No, we're going to override it.
The paragraph states, in Minnesota, participation and eligibility of transgender student athletes is determined by state law through the Minnesota Human Rights Act and the Minnesota Constitution. The Minnesota State High School League, similar to other youth sports organizations, is subject to state anti-discrimination laws, which prohibit discrimination based on gender identity. Therefore, students in Minnesota are allowed to participate consistent with their gender identity. League member schools have done excellent work in respecting students in their individual situations as they determine their participation and eligibility within interscholastic sports. The league will continue to review the existing state laws alongside the new presidential executive order and its timeline processes for states and requirements that are included. And this person said, I'd love to hear you weigh in on this. Well, we're dealing with mental illness as far as I'm concerned. That's how I'd weigh it in. And my daughters are past competing, but if they were, I would be in the front row arguing that they should not have to compete against a male.
Agreed.
So go be transgender. That's fine with me. Just have your own league. We've been down this road a million times. So it's not complicated for me. You're male or female.
Right. Boom.
But we don't have to comply in Minnesota.
We don't have to, according to this right now.
So,
That's actually in the news, too.
Yeah.
That letter was sent to everybody. So Bob doesn't have to worry about being anonymous.
So I have a question about that. I've been meaning to ask you for a couple of days. How do you feel about states' rights when the state you live in is not doing what you would prefer them to do?
Well, I'm a big supporter of states' rights.
So am I, and that's where I'm confused, a little bit irked.
I have to weather the Walz years and come out the other side happy somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you declare what you are, male or female, is there a third? Does it go male, female, third, not sure?
Well, if
Like
you're
some of the polls?
if you're trans, you're not sure.
Okay. I mean, otherwise you're going to have 64 different.
No,
boxes to
transgender
check.
is a reality. It's among us. It's, do what you got to do, trans people. That's fine with me. But you're not competing against my kid. Go have your own league.
Right.
End of story. Why is that a problem? Well, it's discriminatory.
No, it's not.
No, it isn't. Why is it?
At what point do we draw the line? Where do we? I was a guy. I was a guy. Now I'm a gal, and I want to play hockey. But where do we?
Well, here's how I would answer that.
I really don't know.
It's unlikely, just because of biology, not desire.
Okay.
It's unlikely because of biology that a woman, a 17-year-old girl, could be a running back for Lakeville South.
Got it.
However, if there was a 17-year-old girl, I'm just picking Lakeville South at random, because I just know their coach is now moving to Cretin-Durham Hall.
Yeah.
A Burke, not Matt. But
Right.
Brian.
Right.
Is it his brother, I wonder? Or? I'm
Isn't it
getting off
B-U-R-K?
track.
I
though?
think B-U-R.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
different
that's right.
spelling.
That's right. So let's say there's a 17-year-old girl at Lakeview South who goes out for the football team, and she's stunning. She runs the 40 in record time. She bounces off tacklers. The coach's eyes get as wide as saucers. I think what would happen is she'd make the team.
Right.
Oh.
She'd
And
make
that's
the
been
team.
the case going back to when I was a kid in the 70s. We had a gal that played on the high school baseball team. She was really good, too.
But I'm going to continue to say that would really be unlikely.
Because Cretin would discreetly pay her money to come to play football there. Just kidding.
You guys are thieves.
Just kidding.
It's
Pay the parents.
It's not likely that a female swimmer could. Let's move it up to. We'll stay in high
Olympics.
school. We'll
Okay.
stay in high school. It's not likely that a female swimmer could best a male swimmer at the high school level.
Yes.
But there again, at the swim team tryouts, I guess, so we're not discriminatory, I guess a girl could try out for the boys' team
What about track and field?
or track and field, and if the girl just wipes everybody off in the butterfly, record time, sorry, Bert, you just lost your space on the team. She's on the team. But that doesn't happen. The biological differences are too extraordinary. Who was the male swimmer that caused all the problem in the NCAA? Leah Thompson? Leah somebody.
She's the actress from Minnesota.
No, Leah
Yeah, we all know who you mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leah Thomas.
Leah Thomas was a fair to Midland average male swimmer. Now he pulls this
Kicking
stunt and he gets on a woman's team and he's kicking ass.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Okay.
It's BS. I think that I'm glad Trump signed that order. And then the other thing you always hear is, oh, really? How many people does this affect? Is there about 2 people in Minnesota that this would affect? Get over it, big deal, blah, blah. That's not the point.
Right.
The point is that a biological male can best a biological female at most athletic endeavors.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with your desire or your will or your efforts. It has to do with your hips are structured different, your knees are different, your shoulders are different, your lung capacity is different, your heart rates are different. All the stuff that goes into making a top-notch athlete are different between men and women. Everything. Size of your feet and your hands for swimming.
Careful.
Everything.
This is what Jimmy the Greek got in trouble for. Hang on here. Hang on.
I'm not in trouble yet.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay. Careful.
Yet.
No, I'm
I
glad I was sent this letter. It's just this state will cling to the mystery, and we just have to survive until Walz is put where he belongs, back on the farm or
What's
wherever
going
the
to be
hell.
what is it going to take for us to want Walz back? You
I
know,
don't
and
want
with your theory,
nothing could create that for me.
But with your theory,
Yeah.
I mean, give me Chris Coleman back right now any day of the,
Oh
any
God,
day of the
yes,
week.
yeah.
I mean, if you're looking for a serious answer, run Scott Jensen again and Walz will win.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully that's not going to happen.
Well, he wants to run.
Oh, God, help us. No, please.
I mean, we don't even have a candidate for St. Paul mayor.
Don't even send us down that road, Kyle.
That's really.
There- Happy Friday.
Oh,
I'm debating whether I should say something publicly.
hello.
Don't do it. Not yet.
Not about
Do it
trans,
after the
You're running for mayor.
not
No.
the trans stuff.
No, I know. Don't do it. Not yet. Let things play out first.
Well, here's
Say
the
it.
problem.
I'm the devil. Say it.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem. If things play out, it'll be too late. There's a hint.
Oh, I like games.
You can't. Wait, Joe. You got to learn to control yourself.
I can't. I mean, uncontrollable.
Come on.
I mean, at this age, what are the
Obsessive
odds?
compulsive disorder, audio disorder.
Should we do GLer of the week?
Let's do GLers.
Roll her
GLer of
out.
the week.
Roll
Did you
them
give it
out.
to me?
Who is it?
Yes.
Did out in the hall. Out in the other room.
God, what did I do with it? Let's find it.
So, okay there, Tiger. Who
Let's-
won?
I'd grab it, but I'm not touching any.
You don't want to touch anything.
Who got it there, Tiger?
It said say GLer of the week in big bold letters at the bottom.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we fumble through paperwork, we will eventually get to the Garage Logician of the Week.
All right, I got it.
You got it.
You ready?
Bam.
Do I
got
have
it.
a fanfare of some sort?
Yeah, hold on. Now
I need some horns or something.
This is a pretty big deal to get GLer of the Week.
That's a big
You got to
deal.
wait 7 days to find out who the next one is.
That's right. That's
You
a
know,
week.
A week.
Yeah.
That's a while. Here we go.
That's the best I got. So.
Boy, that's pretty bad, but that's festive.
Kyle. Kyle.
Yes.
It's time once again to recognize one of you, our faithful listeners, as GLer of the Week, brought to you by Masters Maples.
I love that product.
Today we celebrate Heidi Ekman from right here in St.
What?
Paul, Minnesota.
She got the shirt?
Do you know Heidi?
Yes.
Do you really?
Yes.
You're lying to me
I'm
again.
not. Heidi is the one that got me the Joe Souchere Pat shirt.
Reality with a bite. The Joe Souchere Show. Easy for me to say.
Let's go back to Minneapolis. Residents, the neighborhoods, the streets and the boulevards.
We're going down in the hood.
A debate is brewing over a boulevard garden on Minnehaha Parkway
Of course.
after the city's Parks and Rec Board issued a cease and desist letter to remove the plants.
Oh, you're going the other way. I thought.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
In a city widely known for, this is a Fox 9 piece, in a city widely known for promoting the benefits of pollinator gardens and increased access to fresh vegetables, the Minneapolis City Council is considering an ordinance that will increase restrictions and the need for permits to successfully create either on the boulevard or in front of a residence. In Minneapolis City Code, the overarching boulevard term includes the land between streets and avenues and a person's property line.
Okay.
All right. The strip of land, often grassy, is maintained by individual property owners, but is subject to the city's right-of-way so they can alter and reconstruct for public purposes as needed. Understood.
Got
There's a
it.
street
Got
light
it.
there that
Sure.
has been stripped of all its copper. Some year they might come back and fix it, and they have to have it on your boulevard.
Right. All right.
Now are we hearing John? Oh, all
No,
right.
no, we're not.
right.
Oh, he looks depressed too. Look at him.
Mike, John, check your text.
According to a newly proposed ordinance offered by council members Linnea Palmisano, Oren Chowdhury, and Andrea Jenkins, boulevards are constructed and maintained to enhance and improve the aesthetic appearance of city streets as an aid to maintaining the quality and livability of residential neighborhoods of the city. So what are we doing here? The intent would be to create an opportunity, encourage people to grow on their boulevards so long as they're not in violation of Minneapolis restrictions. But that's where the new ordinance would kick in, and it concerns the residents.
Okay.
Although the new ordinance would allow for vegetation growth in boulevards, currently restricted under city codes, the placement of any vegetation grown would face a wide range of restrictions and where it can be replaced. Boy, you talk about micromanaging. Vegetation would be subject, you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
To a height restriction of 18 inches
All right.
Okay.
above curb height.
Okay.
Various types of peas, beans, and corn would be removed as options as they grow at a typical height of more than 3 feet, according to the U of M's planting and growing guidelines.
There are guidelines for
Yes,
this.
there are.
Okay.
Vegetation that's taller than 8 inches also cannot be continuous for more than 15 feet parallel to the curb. I'm already out. I can't. I'd have to
can't
get a
follow
tape
this.
measure. And
Yep. Yep.
reducing a person's potential yield. Because apparently what these sustainable Marxists want to do is you're going to eat off your land. But you're only going to eat off your land in the width and height restrictions we give you.
Wait a minute. Is there a caveat for weed? Because that grows much taller than 18 inches.
That's not a bad question. Let's see if we get to that.
I thought it was pretty stupid myself,
No,
but
it's a good question. Vegetation that's taller and any grown vegetation cannot be within 3 feet of any fixed object.
Johnny's back.
All right, Johnny, you got a boulevard?
Look
John?
who's back.
He's not back.
No, he's not back.
He's not back.
Oh, yes, I do, Joe. I have a garden in the back with my
Matt,
record collection
Matt,
of albums that I
Matt,
have.
the boulevard's not in the back.
No, sometimes it is. How's John? Hey, look at all these CDs I have back here.
He's
all
got
year
guitar.
long.
The
He's got
boulevard.
guitar hanging planters.
Would you like to know the difference between record of the year and album of the year? Because I can sure as hell tell you.
That's him.
Now
I
I
hear
hear
him.
John.
Now I hear him. You're
It
back,
takes laughter
Johnny.
to bring him back. Yes, what's
Johnny,
the
where you been?
Am I back really?
Yeah, you're back.
Oh, Kyle, where have I been? You tell him. I have
This
no
board
I haven't been here
sucks.
I haven't been there the whole show. I've been talking to you guys. Nobody ever replies to me.
Under the proposal, tilling or digging using mechanized equipment would be prohibited when planting vegetation within a boulevard, and a raised planting bed would only be allowed after obtaining a permit. Pollinator gardens for bees, heavily promoted by city officials in the past, would now be subject to several restrictions.
Wow.
What? The growing or planting of any weed or plant with thorns, spines, or sharp ridged parts would be prohibited. However, several pollinator-friendly plants, well, or pants,
Hey, friendly pants, how you doing?
contain thorns, including bougainvillea, doranta, and climbing rose. The devil's walking stick, also known as Aralia spinosa, is also a spiny plant that attracts pollinators. Any facilities within the boulevard, such as little free libraries, made popular in past years, would be subject to a permit. So far, if you have a raised bed, that requires a permit. Certain kinds of bee pollinators require a permit, and now little free libraries require a permit.
Okay.
All right. An alternative ground cover, such as mulch and landscape rock, that requires a permit.
Mulch and
Sure,
landscape
you go down
rock?
to City Hall and you stand there for 2 days.
Right.
Yeah.
Mulch and landscape rock. This is, we got to do something about this.
A city engineer or city engineer's designee would process all applications for permits and determine whether it would have a substantially negative impact on boulevard trees, the well-being of the public, or the aesthetic appearance of adjacent residential properties.
You know what? You do know what happens on boulevards all over the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, right?
I used to have a boulevard. I no longer do.
It's happening right now, even as we speak.
Yeah.
Dogs are pooping.
Yeah. But
That's
you're supposed
what
to
the
pick that up.
boulevard. Yeah, but you don't get it all. You know.
You know, in the Ricky Gervais series, which we've completed, called Afterlife, he plays a small. Lives in an English village. He's wrestling with the death of his wife. He can't handle it, but his job is he works for the local village free newspaper.
Okay.
And what the free newspaper does is they find the odd cases in town. Well, I'll leave it to Ricky to find some really strange characters. And one guy is a guy who's been depositing his mail for 3 years in the dog waste bin because he can't read mailbox on it.
So he's got.
So Ricky says, "Well, what about the smell? Did you smell it? Ah, it's a little bugger." So
did you just ruin it for me? Is that the whole series? Afterlife.
One of the proposal's authors, Council Member Oren Chowdhury, referred the ordinance back to committee. Hey, Minneapolis, you're 5 years away if 38th and Chicago is any indication. You're 5 years away from maybe this will require 15 permits by the time they're done. One of the proposal's authors, Chowdhury, referred the ordinance back to committee for further discussion during a committee hearing on January 30th. She referred it back, and she hopes to further inform the public and provide opportunities for input.
Opportunities for input.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The policy is very technical, and there's been a lot of engagement from community members throughout the city concerned about the ordinance, Chowdhury said. We need to take some time to share with community members what it's about. There is also a debate we need to have about some of the... Are we calling Pat? Kyle, I forgot.
Oh.
You got to see if Pat's around.
Oh.
There's also a debate... There's also a debate we need to have about some of the provisions within it to get us to a place where we have the best policy possible.
John, you can go ahead and turn your mic back off now. We're going to get Pat on the line.
Joe, do you remember what happened?
Easiest money you've ever made.
Do you
John,
remember
I'm
what
sorry.
happened with the boulevard in front of my house in Minneapolis?
Yeah,
Remember I told you that
I
story?
think it involves your life partner.
I don't know that it was her fault, but a big tree was cut down, and the city replaced it with 2 trees, and for some reason those 2 trees died, and the city planted 2 more trees, and for some reason those 2 trees died, and to this day I don't I don't know how that happened.
What a coincidence, huh?
Were you responsible for watering them
So to speak.
Or killing them.
or killing them?
The problem is those trees would have blocked a wonderful view of downtown Minneapolis.
Oh, well, hell, it's amazing.
So,
they can't live in a sustainable urban core like that.
It's amazing how they don't like bleach, isn't it?
Too much.
You think they like bleach a little more?
I don't know what happened.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, see if he's available.
He is.
He is?
Yeah. Do you want a
Super Bowl
break first?
preview.
John, what story must you broadcast above any other in your news gathering efforts today?
I don't know.
Look at it this way, John. You made money for not doing much at all.
Let me tell you guys a story about this morning. I'll tell you during a break. How's that sound?
All right. In the meantime, we're going to go get Patrick.
We got to do the new sponsor, though. John, can you give me the new sponsor?
The
for
lack of news brought to you by.
Had I read any news, it would have been brought to you by North American Banking Company.
Thanks, Bilski.
All right.
The news is I'm a bum. Thank you.
Hey, Pat.
Yes, sir.
Kevin O'Connell, NFL Coach of the Year.
Yes, I got a new theory on that.
All right.
I was disappointed the way Kevin finished the season. You know, kind of letting the Rams run out the clock there, not trying. And the last two games they stunk. But my new theory is they were so bad the last two games that it reinforced how amazing it was that O'Connell had this team at 14-2 once. So I say he is the coach of the year, because how in the hell did he win 14 games with this collection?
And 9 straight.
Yes, 9 and 5 straight, 2 losses, and then 9 straight.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm fine with the young man winning the coach of the year. What is amazing, though, is Andy Reid has a very good chance to win his 4th Super Bowl here, and he's never been the coach of the year.
Isn't that something?
NFL history. He kind of turned the Eagles around, and he definitely the Chiefs. The Chiefs were 2-14 the year before he got the job there. So I'm not quite sure how Andy has avoided ever winning the coach of the year.
Andy is the winningest coach in Eagles history and the winningest coach in Kansas City's history.
Yes, he is. Second time that's been the case. You know, and the Eagles. My God, I looked it up. The Eagles, second for the Eagles in wins. He had 135 or something. Second is Greasy Neal, who had 63 before World War II.
Really?
So I think Greasy. So they, you know, the Eagles, this recent run here, starting with when they won the Super Bowl here, Nick Foles, and when they won the Super Bowl here, the Eagles, this kind of puts aside the fact that they were pretty lousy for about a half a century there, where they just pop up once in a while. But from Van Brocklin winning it in 60 until they won it here in whatever year that was, Nick Foles beat Tom Brady.
2019?
Was it? No, was it a little further back than that? Was it? I don't know. Maybe you're right. Yeah, maybe 2019. And they were pretty rotten for most years there. But their fans have never given up. They're just abusive. Are there any reports on the damage being done to New Orleans with these Eagles?
No. You know,
I think it's
Pat,
a little early in the weekend, probably.
with all the years that have passed and all the Super Bowls I've seen or attended, I've come to the realization that it's not really the game I really care about. I like the playoffs. I think they're great, but this is so anticlimactic. I'm trying to get excited about it, but I'm having a hard time.
I have not hardly paid any attention to anything that has gone on down there. The sit around the table and do the interview stuff, I haven't covered one for years and years, but I'm kind of with you. Did you see the prices have declined for the secondary market for this Super Bowl? Last year, it was $11,000 to buy a ticket on the secondary market. This year, it's a mere $9,000.
Really?
Did you? You know, now that the wife is a big fan of the Chiefs, did you ever consider writing out a check for $18,000 for 2 tickets to go sit in the ballpark at New Orleans?
No, and I'll tell you, there's a great dilemma being faced. Travis Kelce has announced how proud he is that Trump is attending. And Travis has not defended Tay-Tay from Trump's comments about her, how he disliked her so much. So we could see that Chiefs sweatshirt get ripped up, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, you could.
I don't know what she's going to do. She's facing
She
a
might
serious
already
dilemma.
be writing the first song on her album after she breaks up with Travis.
Yeah.
She could be the. The first song could be based on the Super Bowl here. So maybe she won't show. What if she doesn't show?
You realize no president has ever attended a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I didn't realize that. No,
Neither
I did
did I.
not realize that.
I did not
until I
either.
saw it. But
Pat, Philly won in 2018 here.
Yes.
And I was working at the airport, and when the Philly fans who had just won the Super Bowl, they were still the meanest and crabbiest fans at the gate. I'm like, you guys won, I said. We don't care. Blah, 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 blah. They were they really were very direct.
Well, they're horrible people.
Did you keep the bars open later for them when they got to the airport? There could have been a profit in that.
Let's just say not all of them made the flight because you can't fly intoxicated.
Well, let's put it this way. The Philly fans once tried to kill Santa Claus.
Yes.
That's all you need to know. Yeah.
And they called me so many gay slurs walking across the parking lot, I began to question my heterosexuality.
Yeah.
Maybe they're right.
Yeah.
Were they a...
Maybe they got a point here, I was saying.
Maybe that exit is an entrance. I don't know.
Were they an audio thesaurus for being fat? Do they have clever names for describing your girth?
Well, it's usually hey, but there's adjectives preceding the fat part of it. It's not just hey, fatty.
Right. That's not clever.
You.
Did anybody use the word morbidly?
No.
Too many syllables.
I use the word morbidly. Yeah. You know what it was yesterday, Joe? I was outside. It was morbidly windy yesterday.
Yes, it was.
It was morbidly windy. That upsets me greatly. There's got to be a better term for being extra. Why not just you're extra fat?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Patrick, what's wrong with pleasingly plump?
Yes, right. Yes, something like that. But it's yes, I am. I will watch it, but probably by myself downstairs because you could give Mrs. Ricey 10 tries to guess the two teams that are playing in the Super Bowl, and she would not. I think she'd know the Chiefs though because of Taylor. But
well, they're always on the TV, but it's the game is dragged out, and you got Kendrick Lamar at halftime. Am I excited about that? I don't know.
I think you are secretly.
I don't know who he is. I
thought he was a basketball player.
Yeah.
You're not up on the Kendrick Lamar beef with Drake?
No, I don't know anything about it.
Big. It was all the news.
Was that part of the Super Bowl halftime?
Well, the thing is his big song is a diss against Drake, but Drake is suing him for it. So now can he perform it at halftime in front of 1 billion people?
Oh, I see.
Is the big? That's another undercurrent.
What
A diss
did you
track.
say?
Diss
What
track.
did you
Yes.
say to offend a rapper that's not
He called him a pedophile.
He zoomed in right for the kill there. Okay.
Yeah, okay. I get
Pat,
it.
you know what's coloring my view of the game? I find that to be the sports venue I hate the most in the country. I just hate that. I hate that building. I hate it. I
Never minded it.
I don't like it. All right, I don't like it.
Shouldn't like it. I got kicked in the head with 2 tennis shoes there.
I got robbed there. I don't like it, and I don't like the fact that there's no windows anywhere. You're in there.
Got robbed in New Orleans.
Pardon?
You got robbed at the Superdome?
Yeah, I got mugged. Didn't hurt. The guy just took my wallet.
Oh, okay.
That hurt.
My God. I was walking down Canal Street at 6, 7 a.m. and I never got mugged. They were afraid of me, I guess. I don't know.
Royce, correct me if I'm wrong. That's where the decision was made, right?
Well,
What's
that's where he
that?
missed
The call?
That's where he
The
missed the
wake-up
plane.
call?
He missed the plane.
The wake-up call.
That's where I missed the wake-up call. Yeah. I need a 7:30 wake-up call, honey. Sorry, sir. It's 7:45. Okay.
Thank you. Cancel that, please. Cancel.
Yeah, we'll adjust then. We'll go to. The bad part of that is, I'd been hanging out with the crazy Frank Highland for like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
So then I flew back to. When I flew back through Atlanta with him to get in another night of drinking. That was not good.
Yeah.
That's when I got picked up at the airport by the original Mrs. Racy.
Yep.
And
Rose.
I said, let's take a little spin over to the Shakopee Hospital there to see if I'm going to live or not.
Yeah.
We had a cause of death hangover. It was almost.
Well, wow, I guess I have that in common with you, Royce. I got back from Jamaica and went right to the hospital.
What Super Bowl was it?
Oh, God, I can't remember.
Or were they baseball meetings?
One of the Oakland ones.
Well, Oakland and Philadelphia was Oakland beat Philadelphia at the Superdome.
I tell you that Oakland team, though, when they came to the Super Bowl, the interviews were fantastic.
They really were.
They were all crazy. Yeah.
They were the most fun team to write about.
Oh yeah, and Lester Hayes was a great quote, even though he had the terrible stuttering problem.
Right.
So he'd get mad if you kind of threw the word out there for him, though. He wanted to
do it on his own.
12 seconds to finish it.
Yeah.
So. But he was. He was. They were great. The whole team was fantastically fun. You know who was great? As a quote, Matt Millen, and then he turned out to be the dumbest general manager in the history of the NFL in Detroit.
1981 was Oakland beats Philly 27-10.
Yes, and only 3 months later, I took the cure.
Yep.
It might have been the impetus.
Our Wild snuck one out.
Yes, 2-1. Hey, how about Gus the Bus? 38 saves? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
He was standing on his head. I take it.
I couldn't watch it though because one of those channels where I had to type in keys on the TV or something.
My wife had to do it.
I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that. Yeah.
This wasn't on.
No, it's
ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and their Timberwolves had one of their finest games in a long time. The Houston team has been the surprise team of the NBA this year, and our boys handed them their heads last night. So that was good.
Well, have a great Super Bowl Sunday, and we'll review the game on Monday.
Are we having a winter storm here this weekend?
The more it's touted, the less I think there's concern about it.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to get a blizzard or anything like that.
Okay.
All right.
Good enough. Yeah.
They've been forecasting as much as 8 inches.
Yes.
You want to get a little wager going on that?
You don't think it's only going to be?
I don't think it's going to be 8 inches.
You think it's going to be 4 inches?
Yeah.
You think they're not telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I think.
Yeah, that's 8 inches.
I think we're getting our. I think we're getting our hopes up for no reason.
I got you.
Yeah, they have changed it 2 to 4 most of the
2 to 4.
Are we going to take a break here?
Just like normal. We
got to take a break and come back with the scramble.
Wait. John has some breaking news when we come back. Yeah. Then we'll do the scramble.
Wonderful.
Yeah, right.
No, I do.
Finally. Thank God today is Friday. TGTI Friday.
I want to turn it to John Haidt in his newsroom.
A little bit of an update. Remember last month, Governor Walz, he signed an order they were going to put all the fraud investigations into one batch, right?
Yep.
Well, now the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension has formally established a centralized state fraud investigations unit. At the direction of the governor, the BAC fraud investigation moved there, and they have a greater enforcement authority now for all fraud programs in the state. So now everything about it is official.
Okay, and that's just more posturing by Walz. I hope the BCA, in conjunction with what the legislature should be getting to the bottom of, solves this. But Walz will have nothing to do with solving it. He's too incompetent.
Correct. And you can actually send them tips if you'd like, the BCA.
But this is good, right? Because BCA is untouched. They're untouchables, right?
I hope so. I do. It's better than better than anything under the purview of Walz.
Yeah.
Say Steve Wilson, our buddy Steve Wilson and Julie. Do you know them from up in Aiken?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they were in Costa Rica. They just arrived a few days ago, courtesy of Escape With Us Vacations.
Oh, yeah, Maria said
And he had one of his higher-end Garage Logic T-shirts on.
Okay.
And
What exactly does that
in
mean?
other words, he must have had a clean one on.
It has a collar on
Yeah.
it.
And a guy came right up to him and said, "Good luck. Joe Souchere, I used to listen to them when we were on 1500. I showed him how to download the app, and he's tuning in now." And then he didn't need to point this out, but he did.
Yeah.
He said, "Needless to say, I figured everybody in Costa Rica at our resort knew about our fake mayor.
Yeah.
Well, after talking to about 75 people from the Midwest, none of them ever heard of it. Gives you something to work on this year. As I mentioned, Julie and I are on our 30th wedding anniversary. Admittedly, I'm just as shocked as you are." And he sent me a picture of a very nice watch he
Yeah, I
received
saw
as a
that. It's
gift.
waterproof. And he took a picture of it. It's like berry.
It resembles the same kind of photo that you've passed around before,
Exactly,
Matthew.
exactly.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just saw the watch.
Yeah.
Boy, am I stupid.
Yes, you are. Well,
I'd rather long to have the other thing than the watch.
yeah.
Right.
I just looked at
that
the
didn't come
watch.
out right. Hang
I
on,
like
I didn't.
watches, so I looked right at the watch and thought, well, that's pretty
Right.
nice.
I hate watches, so I didn't even look. So now I got to go back and look.
You know, I kind of believe you, Joe, because you're the same guy that noticed the motorcycle we were walking by and not the woman that was taking off her shirt standing right next to the motorcycle.
I looked at the bike.
Right.
That's now I looked. Now I see.
Got it. What
do you
time
still
is it?
have it? Do you still have it? Don't throw it away till after the show. I want to see what I
You want to
missed.
see what time it is? Okay.
As is our wont, Timbuktu has come through with our annual event called Super Bowl Nuggets.
Yes.
Super Bowl Nuggets.
Some popular prop bets this year.
Okay.
Will any player or coach cry during the national anthem? Current odds are even. How many?
I bet that guy from Philadelphia will cry.
How many times will Tay-Tay be shown on television? The over/under is 5.5.
More than 5.
I'd take the over.
Yeah.
I'm going under.
Okay.
Because you lose if she doesn't come, if she doesn't come. So I'd almost bet the under and hope she doesn't show.
Prop bet 3. Will Travis propose to Tay-Tay during the coverage? The odds are rapidly changing on this. If he does, the league is over. It is officially a reality TV show.
How do you miss that?
I don't know. I guess I just thought it was a thumb.
That ain't no thumb. That
Thumb?
ain't no thumb.
Jeez.
If
like
my
an
thumb was
18-inch
that big,
thumb.
Yeah, right. That's how he winds it.
If that's his thumb, I want to see the rest of them.
Let's go here.
Kyle, settle down.
Here we go.
Jennifer Lopez, Bruno Mars, and even Beyonce did not get paid to perform at past Super Bowls, and Kendrick Lamar won't be getting paid this year. But don't feel too bad for them. Commercial advertisers are paying $8 million for 30 seconds of airtime. The halftime lasts 12 to 15 minutes, so that exposure is worth tens of millions of dollars.
Okay.
The over and under prop bet for the length of the national anthem is 1 minute, 20 seconds. The shortest national anthem performance ever was Neil Diamond in 1987, who sprinted through the song in 1 minute and 2 seconds.
Way to go, Neil. Brevity.
The longest national anthem performance was Alicia Keys in 2013. She was at the piano and was able to stretch it out to 2 minutes and 35 seconds.
Ooh, that's too long, Alicia. You're not that big.
Super Bowl rings cost $6,000 each, and the majority have been manufactured by Jostens, which is based in Minnesota. Some rings have been manufactured by high-end jeweler Tiffany's. A little-known fact is that the losing team also gets rings signified they played in the Super Bowl, but they are less luxurious than the winner's ring.
I did not know that.
I did not know that. If the deep baritone voice of the Super Bowl stadium announcer sounds familiar, it should. The announcer is Alan Roach, who was born in Slayton, Minnesota, and started his radio career while in high school in Brainerd. He is the stadium announcer for the Vikings and has done 13 Super Bowls and 5 Olympic gold medal hockey games. I did not know that.
Wonder what that pays.
I bet he's paid. Ronald Reagan was the first president to do a Super Bowl coin toss. However, he had to do it remotely via satellite because it was the same day as his second inauguration. Jan 20, 1985.
What's most bizarre about that? It was that early in January.
Yeah. No. The Super Bowl or the inauguration?
The Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, hell, it used to be January 3rd or 4th or 5th.
That Dust Bowl years, the
Yeah.
30s.
Lyndon Johnson was president during the first Super Bowl in 1967. He did not attend the game, but he did receive a solid gold lifetime pass to all NFL games from NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle. On the night before Super, this is my favorite nugget of history.
Yes.
Of history. On the night before the Super Bowl in Miami in 1999, Falcons safety Eugene Robinson was arrested for solicitation of prostitution. Earlier that day, he had received the Bart Star Award for his high moral character.
What a guy, huh?
That's my favorite.
He was really trying to get ready for the game.
Yeah, that's my favorite. 2 of the 32 NFL teams are owned by Walmart heirs. The richest NFL team owner is Rob Walton, son of Walmart founder Sam Walton. He owns the Denver Broncos and is worth $110 billion. Stan Kroenke, who owns the Los Angeles Rams, is not a Walmart heir, but he did the next best thing. He married one. He and his wife, Ann Walton, are worth $16 billion.
Well, you can't have it all.
And finally, in the nugget department.
Oh, okay. Nuggets, Super Bowl Nuggets.
Last year, CBS pulled out all the stops to break viewership records for Tay-Tay Bowl 1. Was she there last year?
Yeah.
They even broadcast the Super Bowl on their Nickelodeon channel, which normally has programming for children. Some toddlers were undoubtedly upset, but Nickelodeon got more than 1 million viewers, and the total viewership for CBS was 122 million. That's the marker to beat for this Sunday's Tay-Tay Bowl the second.
Yeah.
I believe
I'm already sick of it.
if I had to bet, if that was a prop bet, I would say the ratings will be higher than 122 million.
I think so because feeding off of last year's Super Bowl where CP types that haven't been interested are going to be more interested.
Well, if Tay-Tay was in it last year, I'm sure she was interested.
By the way, I talked to my dad today, and Bob said to say hello to Joe and Pat today. So,
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, hi, Bob.
Which proving that he's not listening every day because Pat's really not here.
Well, that's very nice of him. Only because they come to us on this pre-Super Bowl Friday.
Yes.
All the way from Lake Las Vegas, where the traveling Lymans are beginning to pack for their March 1st destination, their March 1st departure for Africa. It was on this day.
This day, February 7th?
1851. The Minnesota Territorial Legislature voted to make St. Paul the capital and to build a prison in Stillwater.
It sounds like a trade-off to me.
On this day.
February 7th.
It's not that hard of a bet.
No, I'm
Right,
sorry.
yeah.
His
Playing
wit
the-
is just too much
playing
for
the part
me.
of
I'm going to
Reavers-
go to him for the next two.
Playing the part of Reavers accurately is Kyle Sheely.
On this day in 1867, Laura Ingalls Wilder was born near Pepin, Wisconsin. Her family settled in Walnut Grove, Redwood County from 1874 to 1880, lived briefly in Iowa for the year 1876-77. She is remembered for writing the Little House on the Prairie books, which chronicled her family's experiences as pioneers. She died Feb 10, 1957, in Mansfield, Missouri.
You think Pa was on the run? You think
Then
he-
why did I see a Laurel Ingalls Wilder cottage-type museum in South Dakota?
They also lived in South Dakota for quite a while.
I
Well,
think
it's not
Pa was
mentioned-
on the run.
It's not
Charles
men-
was on the run.
It's not mentioned on this day in history.
The history of that family has been a tad bit doctored.
Okay. What about Nellie Olson? What about that mercantile? Harriet Olson.
On this day,
February 7th. I said it correctly.
in 1922, Ga Beneguias,
This is going to be native.
which means which the flesh peels off,
Yes.
also known as John Smith, an Ojibwe man.
See?
You ready?
Yep.
Reputed to be 137 years old,
I believe it.
died at Cass Lake.
I believe it.
Holy
Migwitch. Thank you.
He'd have lived then in 3 different centuries, if that
Wow.
were true. 1700s, 1800s, and 1900s.
Was he on tour? What did we do here?
What do you mean, was he on tour?
I mean, like, was he showcasing this or benefiting from it?
It became known, Matt, that they had a fellow up at the.
Come
wherever-
and see a 137-year-old man.
Finally,
Hey, Matt, does your microphone have an off button?
Kyle, can you turn his down accidentally instead of mine?
and finally, on this day
February 7th, 2025.
in 1976,
Was that better?
Yeah.
in 1976,
The year of our Lord.
Cecil E. Newman, publisher of 2 African American newspapers in the Twin Cities, died. Born in Kansas City on July 25, 1903, Newman moved to Minneapolis in 1922 and launched the St. Paul Recorder and the Minneapolis Spokesman in 1934.
Wow. The recorder's still going, isn't it?
I believe so.
And the spokesman? Is that Larry
Spokesman's still going.
Fitzgerald?
I think it's 1 now.
Okay,
Spokesman
I'm
recorder.
only taking one bet. I bet the viewers will top 122 million because the saps that we are going to fall for this. Are they going to get engaged during the Super Bowl?
What's your favorite all-time Super Bowl ad?
I don't have one. Thank
Yeah,
you,
you
GLers.
just can't remember it.
Oh, I have one, but I'm not telling you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least you have one.
All right.
Of all the shows we've done, that was one of them. Thank you, GLers,
Yes,
for
sir.
listening. Don't forget. Hey, you want one of those GL shirts with the fancy ones with collars?
Yeah, where
We've
do we
got
get
them.
those?
Gumption County Gift Shop. Polo shirts are in stock. You can look cool at work and sport Garage Logic. Don't forget GLer of the Week. And watch us on YouTube. Tell your friends we are 300 viewers short of 13,000
Come on,
subscribers.
people.
Let's get to 13,000 over the weekend. What do you say?
Congratulations to Heidi Ekman, our GLer of the Week.
I do have a favorite Super Bowl commercial.
Well, I knew it.
When Mustang debuted its current platform, it would have been about 2005, and the ad was a state trooper found a Mustang with the top down, pulled over on a North Dakota highway, and the guy behind the wheel was frozen. In other words, he was so anxious to drive this new Mustang, he took it out in
Joe.
the dead of winter.
Joe.
What?
The show is over.
And what happened?
Well, I'm telling you guys.
Yeah.
See you Monday.
So Jake, who was then about 4 or 5,